Hello, welcome everybody. The webinar will start shortly. Okay, if everyone can see on the right-hand panel, there's a chat button. So we're just going to say good evening. This is our first, or Karen and I's first webinar at New Room. So we would like to welcome everybody, and I hope everyone had a lovely Easter. So just in the chat, yep, hi Joe, Deb, Glenn, Hitami, just checking how my voice is, if you can hear me. Awesome, brilliant, fantastic. So just this evening, we want to get the most out of this evening, so finding a nice quiet space. The phone's on silent so that you can get the most of everything. Grab your pen and paper, some water, and ready to learn. So let's start with some recognition. So let's have a look and tell us on our chat yes, we are broadcasting. Can everybody hear me? Yes, yes, awesome. Joe, yes, we are broadcasting. Now, sometimes with the slides as well, depending on your system and your Adobe Reader and something to do with the pop-ups and Google, sometimes you can hear and you can't see the slides depending on your own computer's setup. Awesome. So let's jot down recognition. Let's see what over the last couple of weeks, how we're going with our recognition. So somebody been doing some presentations. I saw Candace isn't on, but she's posted this evening that she signed up her first PC, which is brilliant. Karen signed up a new associate in Townsville. Congratulations. Brilliant. So anything that we do, and Sue, a new PC and associate. Fantastic. Brilliant. So also for those ones, if you want to change it to everybody rather than just private, brilliant. Oh yes, Stephanie, fantastic. She did rank advanced to Shara and her daughter Christy, who's dropping her husband off. He's a fly-in, fly-out hubby. So she's driving at the moment. She's going to listen later. So hi, Christy. Has someone to sign up as a PC, so we'll sort that out this week as well, which is fantastic. Okay, news and updates. For those, just a little pre-advance, Anna Lozano's coming for the June Roadshow. These are the dates from the calendar. So I think she's going to be in Melbourne on Friday the 12th and 13th of June, Sydney on the 17th of June, and and Brisbane on the 18th of June, which is a Thursday. So normally you have the training beforehand. Singapore Convention is on. We'll keep up Facebook to see what's happening and what announcements come from Singapore Convention. So I'm sure Annette, when she has time, will update us from where she is. Okay, so we're just going to get on to our product news, which we're going to be doing our pearls. So I'm just going to swap the screens now. Okay, I'm just swapping. Fantastic. Okay, this is our 5 pearls. This is what one of the diamond directors had taught us at one of the trainings. So the 5 pearls are the 5 pearls that someone getting started in USANA are recommended or guided to use, because if they're like, oh, I don't know what to use, this is the 5 pearls that Darlin recommends with his team. So 1 being your essentials. Now your essentials are your overall cellular repair. They contain 42 ingredients, so 42 antioxidants, vitamins and minerals, all in this one beautiful box of 2 bottles, your minerals and your antioxidants. Now, an essential being your first core product that anyone takes. So if someone says, oh, I want to get started, I'm not sure what to take, your essentials is your first foundation product. Now, it's like building a foundation to a house. You need to have that foundation covered. Then we add on that your Biomega, so your omega-3 fatty acids. Now, it's fantastic for your skin and your eyes. So for those who came to Melbourne Celebration, Dr. Alberto talked about having your membrane of your cells being nice and soft. The softer your membranes are, which omega-3s make it soft, the more nutrition can go and absorb in each single cell, and more waste can leave that cell. So that's why the Biomega is also one of your foundation products and one of your pearls. So someone getting their health back on track, your proflavanol. Your proflavanol C is one of your most powerful antioxidants with detoxing. So being a combination of your grapeseed extract and your vitamin C combined, when you're starting on this and you're a new person, it is essential because all these toxins are leaving your body. You're giving yourself extra protection to protect your organs during this process. Okay, so your probiotic is your 4th pearl. And for those of you who've been in USANA for a while, it's huge in balancing out your gut. There are so many billion bacteria to balance your gut. Most people, disease starts in your gut. So if you're going to have some really great probiotics and balancing out your gut, I think it's something around 60 or 70% of your immune system lives in your gut. So if you have a happy gut, your health is on its way to being really awesome and great. But if you have out of balance gut, all gut issues, your health was sure to be suffering, because then your immune system would be very low. Now, Fiber G, the wonderful Fiber G, and this is the product that Dr. Monica Lewis absolutely loves. So if you ever been to one of her talks, you could probably talk a couple of hours on Fiber G. It helps cleanse your bowel. It is the one that gets into the pockets of your bowel and pulls all the toxins out. So as a pearl, it is one of your 5 pearls, which is the bomb, to help cleanse and clean out your bowel. So your gut is getting cleansed out by your probiotics and balanced, and your bowel is getting Fiber G'd, cleansed out by your fiber G. Now, when your gut and your bowels work, you can actually absorb more of the essentials, and your vitamins and minerals can do their job better. Like having a clean sink to wash up, it's the same thing. You're having a clean sink so your body can get in and absorb all those beautiful vitamins and repair your body heaps better. So that's for me. Karen, are you ready to take over to do your bit, and then I'll follow on with the...
Okay, I am.
Okay, I'll just
that's it.
Stop screen sharing and mute.
Okay, hi everybody. I've just been following a bit of the text chat. So Robbie, you're saying when are we starting? I think you need to log in again because we have actually started, so maybe try again. And Wayne, you said you're working now, so that's brilliant. I feel this is the first training I think we've been on since the start of the year, so I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, where do I get started? What do I do? I'm just going to pull up my screen. I have to do screen sharing first, don't I, Helen? Okay, I am going to share my screen, but my slides are not coming up, so I'll try again. Otherwise, Sue, I may need your help. Okay, can Sue or Helen jump on and unmute and tell me what you can see? Because I've just shared my screen, but it's coming up. It's not in... Oh, okay, I'm sure you don't want to see all those boxes, so I'm not quite sure what I'm doing.
Okay, Karen, if you go to screen share, pick the PowerPoint that's open, pick the PDF that's open.
Yes, but it's not coming up as an open. When I go into screen share, it says share your screen, Google plus Hangouts. Now, it doesn't come up as my PowerPoint doesn't come up there.
Is your is it a PowerPoint or a PDF?
PDF.
Okay, is your PDF open behind? Is your PDF open at the back, or is it shrunk?
Well, it's minimized.
No, you need to maximize it. So go down the bottom to your PDF and maximize it.
Got it now. Got it now. Okay,
so
what are you seeing now?
Go to screen. Beautiful.
But are you seeing the whole presentation? So I can't see the chats down the side or anything.
No, now you need to go to your PDF and just do your presentation, and you won't see the chat.
Oh, so what are you seeing there now?
The presentation.
Are you seeing the presentation?
Yep,
okay, because I've minimized it so I can see the chats now. Okay, so you're just getting one presentation on your screen. Is that what you're getting, the presentation up in front of your screen? So when I change a slide, is that all you're getting?
Yep.
You're not getting two or three boxes?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, ready to roll.
Okay, but let me just check this. Now what are you getting? Nothing. Have you got it on the screen?
Nothing.
Okay. All right. Okay, I'll do it this way. It's looking funny on my screen, so... Okay, I'll do it this way. All right, everybody. Yeah, I just want to say a big welcome. I hope everyone had a wonderful Easter. I've just been away to New Zealand for the last week, so you haven't seen me much on Facebook or anything like that for the last week. I went over to see Mark's family and that, had a great time, and got back late last night and now had to learn how to use this presentation system. So it's really exciting because I was learning today thinking, oh, well, it's a good way to get straight stuck into it. And it's great to see everyone being really active. I saw, Joe, you've done a couple of markets and things like that. I was watching a bit of Facebook. It's great to see everyone out there. And I hope you had lots of opportunity to have a bit of time off during Easter as well. What I'm going to talk about tonight is the presentation. I'm just going to go through your basics of doing a presentation. Now, can you type in, if you're happy to share, perhaps how many presentations you might have done over the last month. Or if you have been doing a few, just type in yes or no, whatever. So just so I have an idea where my audience is at the moment. So Julie said slides are now blurred. Are they clear now, Julie? Can you just text in? It's a fuzzy picture because I've got double screen up on mine. So clear. Is anyone else's picture fuzzy? Okay, clear, not sure. All right. Well, I'm going to do a lot of talking, Glenn, so hopefully you'll be able to just follow. There's not a lot on the slides anyway, but I'm not sure. So, okay, just back to presentations. So who actually did some presentations maybe last week or the week before? So Joe said yes, just so I have an idea. Yes, Sue, great. Okay, Helen, yes. All right. Now, when you do, just when you're doing your presentations, can you just share what you use to present? What are you using? What tool are you using to present? If you want to just share what you actually use to do your presentation. So if anyone wants to type in, Helen said Health and Freedom newspaper. What does everyone else use for their presentation? If you just want to type in, just so I have an idea. Okay, Sue, you use mostly your iPad, Health and Freedom PowerPoint. Sue, do you use the whole PowerPoint or did you cut it down? Okay, she did a Reset Nation, yep. Okay, 32 slides in 30 minutes, excellent. All right, what I'm going to share is a little bit about doing a presentation, but you know what, we're all going to work it out our own way. There's no right or there's no wrong way to do the presentation. So I'll go through some key points in doing it. First of all, we're going to look at presenting both the product and the business. You take focus off yourself and place it on the listeners and using the tools. That's basically the key points out of what I'm going to share with you tonight. Okay. First, looking at what your types of presentations are. Okay, now, I think as a team we've gone through this. How to do a presentation? What should I use? What are the best ways? And I think it comes down to being a very personal thing in what you're really, really comfortable with. For myself personally, I love doing one-on-one presentations, and for the main reason is because I get to have a chat with that person. I get to know with that person fairly. You get to know that person. For me, I do that because a lot of the people I'm talking to now are out of my really, really warm market. They may be someone I haven't seen for ages. They could be a cold prospect. So that, to me, for me, that's really important to have that one-on-one time to actually get to know them. Now, the whole idea is that you're leading up to your presentation. And like in Cairns, we do run some what they call BOMs, Health and Freedom, which is business information nights. We have really big events. Now, personally, most of the time I don't invite anyone directly to the big event. What I actually do is do a quick presentation and one-on-one with them first, and then spark their interest, then invite them to the big event. So, and that way, you've got their excitement and your ratio of people turning up is much higher. Then the best place, when you're looking at your presentation, it says the best place is the meeting place. So whether it's going to a BOM, your home meetings. We start our team off doing a home meeting. As soon as a new person joins our team, we then get them to get their friends over and do a home meeting. And the other one might be a corporate event. They're really the bigger types of presentations. Then, when you're looking at big meetings, because as a team we've all gone through this, should we have big meetings, shouldn't we? We stopped for a while because we thought, you're better off doing one-on-one presentations. Our success ratio was a lot higher doing that. And then we've gone back to now looking at we need to do a big meeting at least, once every 2 months. It may get more frequent, just depending on what your team's doing at the time. Now, why you have big meetings? The really important thing about big meetings is when you've got a group of people there, a big number, there's a lot of excitement. You have a very successful environment and an exciting atmosphere. Okay, it becomes more influential. And we all know the success rate that we've had from the couple of big meetings, like, well, we had Amy Bahajura up here a couple of a month ago or whatever, and the success rate we had from there, I think just about every guest that came along either become a preferred customer or an associate. So it's a very high success rate. In saying that though, a lot of the guests that you have along have looked at USANA or have been exposed to it in another way, through either looking at information or through or possibly through you doing a one-on-one with them previous to coming along. Okay, the key thing is, you know, using leverage. And the other thing that they can see is they're not alone in this whole business, and success is not only for the few. So that's why you're having big meetings. So when you're using leverage, like I said to you, know, a lot of new associates that join, if you can invite guests along to a big meeting, you're not having to talk to them. It doesn't become about you, it becomes about them, and it also becomes about the person that's standing up there that possibly is more successful than you, especially if you have just joined. So that's looking at your big meetings. Okay, I want to get the big meetings out the door because that wasn't what I really wanted to talk about tonight. I wanted to talk more about on the types of presentations that you can do. Big meetings are great. However, last year I think I went to listen to Jordan Kemper and when he did his training. And Jordan Kemper is a very successful USANA associate. He's built his business fairly fast. He's, I don't know how many star diamond, whatever. And you can Google him if you don't know who it is. I think most of you online do. I can't see the attendee list. However, and I went to his training last year in Brisbane, and I asked him the very, very question about the big meetings, because that's been a thing. Some people say, yeah, you need to have them. Some teams say you don't. His view was that, yes, it's great to have a big meeting. However, don't get your team relying on having big meetings, because that's a very slow way to build a business. If they've got to wait a month or 2 months before they can invite a guest along to go to a big meeting, they're doing before that. So that's why I focus on really teaching people how to do a one-on-one presentation or a very, very small group presentation, because it means that your business can keep moving ahead and you're continually talking to people, and that's how you create momentum. So, you know, a one-on-one presentation is, there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can do two-on-one, the best next choice from a big meeting if you are a new associate, where you're actually leveraging your time and you're getting your sponsor to come along, or someone who has been in the business a bit longer, or even someone who maybe not been in business longer than you, but who may do a great presentation. Sometimes I've asked someone to come along to actually do the presentation with me if I feel that they've actually they'll develop a better rapport with that person. So it doesn't matter who comes along. However, sometimes it's good, particularly when you first get started, to have someone else there who is an expert or is more confident to do the presentation for you. And for those of you who don't know, you're leveraging your time and you're doing what we call the ABC. So for those of you who don't know the ABC works in a triangle, and I'm just going to check my slide to see. Yeah, it works in a triangle like this, where your A is your advisor, or what we call your expert. The B is the bridge, which could possibly be you, and the C is your client or your prospect. You can call them whatever you like. So what happens is, if you're the B, you're the person in the middle, you're creating that warm environment between C and A, because you're the person that's got the connection to the two of them. So A then presents to C, and by the time they've presented to C, you've built that bridge so that you've created that link with them, and it has a much more successful rate than if I just presented to C without B being there. So if you've got, it's a great one. I sometimes use this when I've got a person who I'm thinking, oh, that person on your chicken list, that person who you think has got, who may be more influential than you, or maybe more successful than you, or for whatever reason, and they're on that chicken list, and you're the person that knows them. It's a good way then you can ask someone else to come along and do the presentation, because it makes you step back a little bit. Very, very good with family as well, when you first get started, in looking at who can share this information with family, because sometimes, particularly when you've just got started or you're new associate, keep this in mind whenever I say when you've got just just got started. Most of us that are probably online tonight have been in the business for a while, but we've always got to think back to how a new associate would feel. So when a new associate gets started and they're wanting to share something with maybe their partner or their friends and that, the A is really, really important, because I'll look at that person and say, well, what do you know? You've just got started. How do you know this is successful? How do you know you'll be successful? And that's why it's really, really important for the new associate to have the A person there all the time at the start until they're confident in what they're doing. So, and that's what we call your 2-on-1. So how many of you actually, if you can text in, how many of you actually do this with your new associate when they do get started? Or how many of you are still using an A, because sometimes you feel that expert, using someone who you think is an expert just because it's for that credibility. So Helen said sometimes. Helen and I work together a lot. If I've got someone who's really, really focused on product, and I think that Helen will be able to explain the product better than what I am, or that person could be a bit tricky, I often ask Helen to come along and say, well, can you meet with me? And we'll do it together. Helen will often ask me if she's got someone who wants to be really, really fast. She'll say to me, can you come along, because you can do a faster presentation. So it's really working with your team to work out who's got what skill in making the end result a lot more successful. So yeah, Joe, you said it varies, depends on the person. Is that your presentation? Okay, so moving on to types of presentation. So we've looked at the big meeting. Okay, we've taken a step back down to where we've got the 2-on-1, where, especially with your new associate, you'll become the person that's the expert, and then you've got your new associate inviting their guests along. And now Wayne's got to go. He's got a job. Excellent. Go, Wayne. Go and work. All right. And Helene said yes, we work together and complement each other. Brilliant. And you know, we also, when I'm doing a presentation with my new associate, we have a little, particularly when a new associate is learning and they want to step up and do a presentation, I always have little signals so that I can get the idea that they need help and step in, because my rule is whoever's doing the presentation, the other people except for the prospect need to be sitting and listening and not contributing. So if I've got a new associate, I tell them straight, you need to sit and listen and leave the presentation to me. However, when the new associate starts doing her own presentation and I've gone along just to support them, I always develop a little code. You know, sometimes it might be just like wipe the left side of your face or something like that. When you've got to the point where you're a help, and then I'll step in to maybe answer the question or whatever. Because the minute you start in a presentation, you start talking over the top of your new associate or with the person you're doing a presentation with, they lose credibility. Yeah, Sue said throw salt over your right shoulder. That's right. Whatever works, you know. 4 stirs of the teacup, whatever. But have it set before you actually go in and meet with the person. It makes it a little bit of fun as well, because sometimes I'm sitting there watching for that clue, and I think, oh God, I hope I don't miss it. But that communication is really, really important, because I don't ever step in and comment or correcting a person when they're doing a presentation is the worst thing you can do as well. Correcting, because that just loses all credibility. So I let them talk. At the end of the presentation, I might make a few comments saying, you know, USANA actually opened in 1992, not 1994. But you know what? The new associate's not going to, the new person they're talking to is not going to know that, and not going to know you made a mistake, or just little things like that, or you know, just without going through and criticising and everything like that, just little comments and that. So Sue said it's not about all the facts, it's more about building a rapport, and that's exactly right. And I know when I first started training one of my new associates a few weeks ago, she said to one of her comments was, Karen, you shared USANA in 10 minutes and you chatted a lot. And I said, well, you know, I didn't know her, so she's not going to even look. That person won't even look at the business unless they build a rapport with you. So, yeah, Deb, it's so true. You've got to build a rapport with the person. When it's your warm market, it's okay. When it's your cold market, sometimes I'll spend half an hour talking to the person before I get to USANA, and sometimes USANA might only be a very small time might only be 10 minutes, and then I give them the information and guide them to the information. This is when you're talking about, you know, your cold market or people that you don't know. It is about building rapport, and that's the most important thing. You can be great and you can have a presentation perfected. However, if you haven't built a rapport and that person doesn't look at you saying that they can trust you and yeah, they'd like to, you know, work with you, then that perfection's straight out the door. And I've actually personally learned that from experience, where when I first did my presentation, because my sponsor had only joined a few weeks before I joined, we were all, before Mark and I joined, we were all very, like, I shouldn't say rusty, we had no idea what we were doing. And being a teacher and being a perfectionist back then, I've let it go now. I had my presentation set where I had it word for word, everything like that. And sometimes my presentation, I remember doing a 2-hour presentation, and the person across from me, who was a good friend of mine, said, you know what, Karen, that was absolutely fantastic. You did such a good job, but there's no way that I could do what you just did. And that's when that was a turning point for me, thinking, oh my gosh, I've perfected this so well that all my friends are looking at me saying, well, it's not for me. And that's not what it's about. It's about showing people that they can do it. And that's why I'm going to move on to looking at your one-on-one presentation. For a new associate, this is the least desirable setup, because a new associate doesn't, well, I shouldn't say doesn't know what they're doing, because, you know, there are associates out there. I know Amy had in her team when she sponsored the group in the lady in Tasmania. She wasn't down there, Amy Bahaja, to actually do presentations. So that person had to learn what to do very, very quickly. And they're probably one of the fastest growing teams. So, however, if you can be there to do the presentations with a new associate, and I've spoken for all the reasons I've spoken about, that's fantastic. So one-on-one presentations, no, there's no leveraging. And, it takes a lot more time to do this. I know for myself during the week, I've got to schedule in how many one-on-one presentations, and that's one person that you're meeting with at a time, whereas, a group is more leveraged. And that's why when I get a new person started, I like to start them off getting groups of people together of their friends, for the reason that they see that, I'm doing, I need a couple of hours a week to get a group of people together and share USANA. And that's how I can start off. Going around doing one-on-one presentations is a lot more time consuming. There's no leverage. You really avoid discussing specifics in your presentation, and use this as prep work for another full presentation. Now, we say that, you say that if you're in an area where there is a larger health and freedom, you can use a one-on-one to spark their interest and move them into the larger health and freedom. For me personally, for us up here, yes, we do have larger health and freedoms, not on a regular basis. However, I use one-on-ones to build that rapport and to actually bring new people on board. Personally, I like one-on-ones because I can schedule them in my own time. And as soon as I have a new associate started, I teach them how to do a one-on-one fairly quickly, because it means that they don't have to rely on linking up my time and their time to talk to people, because sometimes that can be really, really difficult, particularly, like in my circumstances, I have a family, so, you're a taxi driver, you're here, you're there, and you're putting in you're planning your presentations. So, and then you're having to look at, working around a new associate, and if their working hours are different to what you're available at, it sometimes can become a bit tricky. And that's why the first job I do with a new person that comes on board is I get them to get people in front of me, and I invite them to come to look at when I'm doing a presentation as well, so they can learn how to do a one-on-one as quick as possible, because that way then they can build USANA. They've got, there's no excuse. They can talk to people and they can do presentations in their own time, and you can do those last-minute presentations as well. So is everyone sort of agreeing with me on that? When you're with a new associate, most of you doing that, teaching them how to do a one-on-one straight up? If you want to type in, because my way is not the right and wrong way. I'm just sharing what I do. Does anyone want to share? Nope, I'll keep going. Okay, now there's 4. Yeah, Sue said yes, and they can learn themselves. Yeah, that's exactly right. And yes, learning a one-on-one is the most important. Yeah. Okay, I just wanted that bit of clarity there, and that bit of the importance of it. Okay, now let's have a look at actually doing how we build our presentation. So, you know, if you had to say, Eric Worre also teaches that, well, good, so I'm doing what he does then. That's fantastic. Um, with a presentation, like when I do my presentations, I try to link in these key areas in doing a presentation. And like I use a tool. I usually use the Health and Freedom newspaper because it's a tool that I can use when I'm at a coffee shop or whatever. And whenever I start a presentation, obviously, you know, I've built that rapport and tried to find out a little bit of their why they would even look at USANA or consider USANA, maybe as a business, or maybe why they take the product. And because a lot of people I'm talking to now cold market, even I'm curious as to why they're actually meeting with me. You know, is it just to have a cup of coffee, or, you know, so you know, you're asking all those questions at the beginning, and then I build my presentation up depending on where they're coming from. Now, the sequence in which you do it, there's no, to me, I don't think there's any correct sequence. I really focus on what that person has just told me. So, which makes it sometimes really difficult, and I had to really take a step back. You know, it's all right when I'm doing a one-on-one presentation for myself. So sorry, Julie said she's lost sound. So is everyone else okay? Can everyone else type in, you're still hearing me, or am I talking to nobody at the moment? Okay, good. Because I've done that a few times in the past, so maybe someone might like to just text it, type in Helen or Sue a message to Julie. She might need to log out, or I'm not sure. But going back to when I'm doing a presentation, I always focus on the person in front of me. And the funny thing was when like recently I have signed up a few new associates, and I'm teaching them how to do a one-on-one. And after a couple of my first one-on-ones, I sat there and I thought, oh my gosh, they can't duplicate what I've just done, because I haven't done the same thing over and over again. So I really had to go back and really focus on doing the same, like doing the basic same things over and over, because this business is about duplication. I know, when, you know, I've been in the business for 12 years, and, you know, after 12 years I can sit there and I don't need any tools, I don't need anything, but I can just blurt off USANA. And most of us, you know, when you've been in the business for a while, can do that. However, you know, I had to really go back and think about, okay, I've got this new associate sitting here. What do they need to know? What do they need to see? And that's where I had to go back and actually refresh myself in how to do a presentation. And I'm saying that because, you know, a few of you have been on board for a while, and it's just something to really think about. So the points that I always talk about is, you know, first establishing why you need to supplement. Okay. Now, if I'm talking to a person and I actually ask them what their belief in nutritional supplementation is, I ask them straight. I ask them, you know, do they take supplements now? That question comes out straight away before I even talk about USANA. Because if they said to me, yes, I do take supplements, and I ask them what brand, and then I explain more about why USANA, so I may only spend a little bit of time on why supplementing. Okay. Also, I do ask them what supplements they do take as well, because, you know, if they're just taking, if they're just using olive leaf extract, or they're just taking a calcium, they don't understand the needs of a base of your foundation supplement, or why they need that foundation. They might be taking something to treat just arthritis because, you know, they were told take glucosamine sulfate. However, if they're not taking an antioxidant or multimineral or a general supplement, I go back and explain why they need that foundation product, you know, about our food and that. I don't look over that step just because they said they take a supplement. And then, of course, you're leading in. Now, if you're using a presentation like a PowerPoint, the USANA PowerPoint, or you're using the Health and Freedom, or even if you're using the Healthy Living flyer, because I sometimes use that because I always carry that around. The sequence is the same in all those if you really have a look at it. So, you know, the first few pages talk about why supplementing. They talk about USANA as a whole. Then you're moving into why USANA supplements. And then you're moving into why network marketing and why USANA business. Now, the why network marketing and why USANA business, I keep that really, really simple. I don't go into individual presentation. I don't go into drawing circles or anything like that. I talk about network marketing in general and how it has changed my life personally. Now, if you aren't, if you're a new person and you're not so successful and you are doing your own one-on-one presentations, you need to find somebody out there or have some testimonials up your sleeve to explain, to share with the person that you're talking to about the success of USANA, how it's changed people's lives. And you need to have those up your sleeve. Even product, I always share stories. I don't, I share the comparative guide, but a lot of my presentation is a lot of stories. The other key thing that I do in my presentation is I also overcome a lot of the objections through my presentation. Like, I explained at the beginning that when I first got started in USANA, I had 2 kids and I really didn't know how I was going to do this, and I didn't know if I was going to be successful, and I wasn't a salesperson, so that's all those objections out the door straight up. And however, when I got started and suddenly, I started growing a team, and then things started changing, and I realized, hey, I can actually do this. And I was starting to train people, and then seeing other people could actually do this. And then, 12 years later, I haven't gone back to full-time work. So that's how it's changed my life. And just to have, the lifestyle, I guess, that I have, where I don't have to be in a job, and I have choices in, whether I want to spend time with my children and how I work my business and things like that. So I share a lot of that through my presentation, and it all boils down to the initial conversation I have with the person as to what could be their why they might even look at USANA. I mean, if their health isn't great, I'll focus a lot on sharing testimonials about the product, or particularly if they've told me something about their health that I know someone that has had success with. So yeah, so it's not just about the whole time, and I always tell the person that when I've got the Health of Freedom newspaper sitting on the on the coffee table, on the table or whatever, I tell them that, at the end of this presentation, if I've sparked an interest, they're welcome to take this. They're welcome. They're going to take this home with them and read more about it. And you notice, and I don't know whether most of you, you've probably noticed as well, the person sort of sits back and is a little bit more relaxed as well. And I guess it's taking away the fact at the end that they're going to have to make a decision right then and there, even though you do want them to make some sort of decision about where they're going. It just takes away that pressure on them. So, okay, sorry, I flipped back. All right, so. I'm not going to go through all this. I'm just looking at my time, and I know Helen wants to share. I've got 20 minutes for Helen, so I'll just take about 5 minutes more. So in your presentation, you're building it up into these key areas. So, and if you don't know how to do a great presentation, or you're not sure what you need to share, there are tools online, like Jordan Kemper. If you listen to his quick presentation, listen to his over and over again to pick up those key things that you need to share about USANA, those key things about supplementing, and then have your stories ready to add about it. Like, with supplementation, with why supplement? I mean, they're all the key pointers that you can share. Sometimes I don't even share those if I've got testimonials, and I share those instead. Okay, then why USANA Supplements? So you can read those while I'm talking. You can read them on your screen, and I'm sure we know all the reasons why we need to be taking USANA. And if I had time, I'd get you all to type them in. However, I've just shown you on the screen. I'm just going to go through these quickly. Why network marketing? Now, if you're not really sure on the why network marketing, then you need to go and do some more reading yourself to build your belief. Again, all these areas you need to build a belief in if you're a little bit unsure in what you're doing. Because that's the only way you can talk comfortably. And again, in my network marketing, like I've spoken to one of my new associates, and I just said, just share my story, just share my story, just share my story. Or share Jordan Kemper's story, or share Amy's story. If you're talking to a young Gen Y, share Amy Bahadua's story, share someone's story, because that's what's going to move them to the next step. Okay, and why USANA's business, has heaps of accolades out there that you can, and the key is to have the ones that you're comfortable talking about as well. I always struggle when someone wants to know a lot of statistics because I don't remember statistics really well. And the thing is, when someone starts asking me that, I then point out to where, you know, I'll say to that person, look, I'll get you that information, or it's written in here and you can have a read, or they can go online, whatever. So, okay, so I was going to do a little bit of following up. The key thing that I just want to share now before Helen comes on is, you know, at the end of the presentation, it doesn't matter how the presentation goes, I always ask the person for a decision. I always ask them, you know, whether I've sparked their interest. Sometimes I just use those words, you know, have I sparked your interest in what I've just shared with you? And if they say yes, I say, okay, well, what do you want to do from here? And I ask them that straight. Where do you want to go from here? And they'll tell me. They'll say, well, you know, I feel I need to start on the product or whatever. Sometimes I need to do a bit of prompting, but I ask them straight what they want to do. Because it's only fair to ask them. You've just spent, you know, maybe an hour with them, maybe half an hour with them, and you need to ask them. If you've done a really, really quick presentation, you want to know that they're interested before you hand them any tools as well, but you want to know where they're standing and then move from there. And that's the key. It doesn't matter whether you've just had a conversation, you've got to ask them at the end, because you've got to let them make a decision and you've got to let them tell you where they want to go. And I use those simple words, you know, have I sparked your interest? What would you like to do now? Do you want to get on products straight away? Are you ready to join me now straight away if they've gone on, whatever it is? Or would you like to, the key one I always ask is, would you like to know how much this is going to cost? And move from there. Okay, so do we have any quick questions before Helen comes on? I left you 15 minutes, Helen, so I think hopefully that's enough. Yeah, so has anyone got any questions that they just want to ask me, or anything they want to quickly share before I move on to Helen? I wanted to make it a bit more interactive tonight, but this is all a new system, so I think in the future we'll try. Yeah, so, okay, well, great. So I'm going to close down now, Helen, I guess, and I'm going to mute myself and I'm going to let you come back on if we're all good. And yeah, thank you everyone, and I look forward to seeing you talking to you online in 2 weeks' time, I think. Okay, I'm going to mute myself. Helen?
Okay, fantastic. All right, that screen of mine's come up now. Yep. Fantastic. Oh, it's okay. So I'm going to do this short and sharp because you guys are all sharp. So the 5 income generating activities. This here was taken from when Amy Bahaja was here, but I also found some things from Jordan Kemper, which is a fantastic reminder, because sometimes I get bogged down in things as well. So I'm just going to walk through. Has everybody got their typing fingers typing? I want to have everybody ready. You can have a Y for yes and an N for no. So that's the only thing you need to type in. So which of these activities create income? So that means gets you volume points, gets you sales, gets you points flowing through your business. So does creating a PowerPoint get you sales volume points? So a yes or a no. Typing fingers, I said ready, ready, ready. No, that's correct. Does calling prospects get you? It sets up presentations, it sets up meetings, and it can lead to yes. So you're the only one, yep, and Karen. All right, everybody, get your typing fingers out. Making follow-up calls. So if you're following up after a presentation, can this make you volume points? Yes, it can, Candice. The answer's yes. Okay. Creating a flyer. Does creating a flyer get you volume points that week? No. No. Okay. Posting on Facebook and Twitter. Just generally going on and surfing the internet. This one here is it can be a yes or no, because if you're following someone up and doing a presentation on Facebook, then it's a yes. But if you're surfing the internet and just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, then it's a no. Okay, doing a presentation. Yes. Fantastic. Doing a three-way call with your new prospect. Yes, 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 absolutely. So, surfing the internet, like surfing Facebook or Twitter or just, no. Doing your own bookwork. Doing my best. Does that make me have sales volume points, Helen? No. Doing a presentation with your new associate. Doing up a pretty folder. That must bring you sales volume points. Doing up a beautiful, pretty folder. Doing follow-up calls with your new associates. So no, the pretty folder gets a no. Doing up follow-up calls with your associates, yes. Prospecting at the grocery store and the gym, yes. Sitting and training new associates to invite and doing invite calls, yes. Surfing Facebook for hours, no. Okay, watching TV, this must be a good one. That must bring in volume points. No. And watching YouTube clips, no. Fantastic. I love that. Thank you very much, everybody. This is taken from Jordan Kemper's training. So he has got on your left-hand side your emails. So emails, web design, e-apprentice, making flyers, cleaning your office, planning conference calls, listening to educational CDs, attending live events. All these ones are what they call non-revenue generating activity. Okay, non-revenue generating activity. So these should only take 10 to 20% of your time. So what happens as well is Jordan talks about, for instance, just say you're working 10 hours a week. So 10% of that, so 1 hour to 2 hours of that time is spent doing those non-revenue generating activities. The other 80 to 90% of time is spent meeting, forming, making phone calls, presenting, three-way calls, getting referrals, taking guests to events. So I think the same thing for me at the beginning of my business was distinguishing the differences. So we're trying to distinguish revenue generating activity and other things where we say we're busy in our USANA business, but we're busy not doing non-revenue generating activity. So we can get really busy all single week doing web designs, e-apprentice, all sorts of stuff where we need to really be actively thinking, well, if I'm doing 2 hours worth of USANA today, I need to spend an hour and a half doing forming, making presentations, and follow-up calls, and 30 minutes on my other stuff. Cool? So this is where down the bottom it says associates spending 20 hours a week growing their business that do not make money are spending their time on non-revenue generating activity. This is the difference between being busy and being productive. Big difference. So why do people do this? Simple. It's because revenue generating activity makes us face rejection. So fear of rejection, it's easy to spend the time doing flyers, emails, planning things, than making the calls and getting rejections. So we get 0 rejections. Does that make, that was like, whoa, a big wake-up call? Cool? Okay. So this is our 5 big ones that we talk about. So we're going to go 1 for prospecting, 2 for presenting, 3 for following up, 4 for closing, and 5 for duplicating that with your new people. So you're there training them and sitting with them when they do a approaching and doing an invite, when they're doing a presentation, they're doing a follow-up, and they're doing a close. So 5 of those things. So every single day asking yourself, and I have to do as well myself, what have I done to do revenue generating activity today? Cool. Okay, any text chat in? What has everybody got planned for the rest of the week? Anything planned? Oh, Candice, yes. The forming on Facebook is part of your forming. So yes, that's part of your prospecting. So that's different. If you are mindful on Facebook that you're on there and inviting someone to look at a presentation, that's right. That's the difference, rather than just searching your feed for hours and hours and hours on end. 3 presentations, fantastic for this week, Sue. Brilliant. Excellent. Okay, I think we're going to wrap it up. Following up and training a new associate. Too much work, Glenn. Excellent. Have an awesome week. Thank you very much, everybody.
Hang on, Helen. Helene
Yep.
just asked to put up the slides. I'll see if I can put my slides back up again. Okay. She asked for one of the slides, but I'm not sure if I can, because I think I closed it down. I'll just try, Helene, so if you're happy to wait 1 minute.
Well, I've just worked out that there's a delay.
Okay, I'll just see if I can do screen sharing. She just asked to put one of the slides back up.
Oh, I'll have to stop here, actually. Now go.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'll just get it through. If you're still on, I hope you're still on, Helene. Which one did you want? The why? Which one did you want? Why USANA Supplements? Is that right? Oh.
The presentation.
Okay, I'm just going back. I think that's the one you want. Is it, Helene? Why USANA Supplements? I think she was writing it down. I'll just go back and have a look at the scroll chat. So, all right. I'll just put that up and. Oh, why USANA Supplements? So I'll just leave that up for 1 minute, Helene, before we go off, so you can just get that down. Yeah, we'll say good night. Can you just let us know when you're finished, when you're right with that one? Got it.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Got it. So, all right. In 2 weeks' time, next week, there's what's the training? What's the training for next week? Nikki Cahayo. Oh, definitely do not miss her. She's going to be fantastic. She was so good and she's got so much to offer. So make sure you're online next week. Just watch for the time. Oh no, it's all the same time now, isn't it? Because there's no more daylight savings. So
yeah, but I'm not sure what time.
In 2 weeks' time. Yeah, just watch her watch the time that Nikki's going to come on, because she's probably coming from America. Whether it's 7 or 8 o'clock, just keep an eye on our Facebook post to have a look at what time, and we'll just have to try and make sure that we remind remind everyone as well. Sue said 8 p.m. just posting on, yep, okay, thank you, Sue, 8 p.m. So just watch out for that and don't miss that. That should be so good. And then the following week will be training back online like we've got tonight as well. So keep your all your recognitions and that for 2 weeks so we can have lots of sharing and all that when we come back online in 2 weeks' time. So beautiful. Okay, thanks everybody. Thanks, Helen. I just took over, didn't I? Sorry. All right, good night everybody.